Well, I must go back to the very beginnings, because the Romans invented football in Chester. It was then called diva. It had nothing to do with the time, you see. The Angles and the Saxons didn't bother with the Romans at all. They were just there, incarcerated in their castles in Diva, and they used to play football with severed heads of the odd peasant that they would slay and kick it with severed head. Now, I came across this document, this ancient Roman document, in a previous life, and I was known as Sir Granville le Scroop, and I was a knight in the service of Edward Confessor. I came across this little booklet, and I thought, the beautiful game, ye beautiful game. So I virtually invented it. Instead of using the severed head of a peasant, I used to slaughter a pig and go over. There was a guy called Sir Rowland Atkinson, lived on the other side of the Mersey. Sir Rowland was a brute of a man, sparsely educated, lots of hair that he used to bleach even in those days, the dye he used to take from the River Dee. And I used to kill a pig, you see, and we'd slaughter the pig, and of course there was the pig's bladder. So one day I blew it up, like, put it down, and I invented the game of fussball. But we used to play it on horseback. And then it became difficult because, you know, you couldn't play. So I shooed the horses away, put them back up the stables, and we used to play football with a pig's bladder. So that's how it developed. But it's pretty rough. The losing side always had to sacrifice a man. It was a very bloody, nasty sort of thing. So now I'm glad that we've improved it slightly. We've kept the brutality, but it's done away with the deaths.
Bellezza, l'orbe, così il saprà domani, sicuramente.
Il calcio è nato sulle rive dell'Arno e soltanto dopo secoli è trasmigrato su quelle del Tamigi, dove gli inglesi cambiarono il nome da calcio a football e gli dettero precise regole con le quali il football moderno è conosciuto in tutto il mondo, ma soltanto dopo la nascita del gioco del calcio è a Firenze. Poche sono le regole che contraddistinguevano questo gioco tipico della città di Firenze. Come abbiamo già detto, i giocatori, che erano 27 per parte, suddivisi in 4 linee, gli innanzi in numero di 15 o corridori, 5 sconciatori, vale a dire il rapporto ai nostri mediani odierni, 4 datori avanti, che sarebbero i terzini, e 3 datori indietro, che corrisponderebbero ai nostri portieri. Il terreno di gioco rettangolare, cui il lato, la base, è il doppio esatto dell'altezza, vale a dire 80 metri per 40, 100 metri per 50. La meta, la caccia, si otteneva quando la palla scagliata entrava nella porta, nella rete avversaria. Mezza caccia, viceversa, era quel mezzo punto che veniva inflitto a quale penalità al calciante che tirando in porta sbagliava e la mandava al di sopra della rete, al di sopra dello steccato. Quindi mezza caccia per punire chi sbagliava il tiro e una caccia per premiare quando la palla era scagliata dentro lo steccato.
Nestling quietly in the Derbyshire Dales lies the small market town of Ashbourne. A visitor arriving here could be forgiven if he thought the whole town was awaiting a revolution.
During the morning of Shrove Tuesday, all the shops, banks, etc. are boarded up to prevent the pressure of the crowd from spilling into premises or breaking plate glass windows and so on.
Standing like a memorial to past battles, a stone marker denotes the site of Clifton Mill. 2.5 miles away is Sturston Mill. And these are the goals for the old Ashbourne custom of Shrovetide football. In time-honoured tradition, a celebrity is called upon to start the game. Somewhere in there is Brian Clough, who hopes he'll survive long enough to throw the ball up, or the term the Ashburnians prefer, turned up.
There are two teams, the Upwards and the Downwards, and it relates to which side of the River Henmore, which flows through the middle of town, you were born on. Your allegiance was to your own particular team, and that stayed with you throughout your lifetime. It's not the done thing to switch sides, and a few years ago one particular player whose family have always been staunch Downwards scored at the opposite goal, and that is still talked on to this day. In fact, I understand that his father refused to talk to him for a while because of it.
There has to be a set of rules, but considering the ball can be kicked, picked up, carried, thrown, in fact, whatever the player wishes to do, providing the opposition don't stop him, it's hardly surprising there's no referee.
There are not many rules, very few in terms of play. Perhaps the main one being that the game does not go into the churchyard, the cemetery, or the War Memorial Garden. Other than that, in a general consensus that you try to keep it out of people's gardens and so on. You don't go into shops, the usual things like that. It proceeds between two goals which are 3 miles apart, between 2 p.m. and possibly 10 p.m.
There are occasional bits of open play, but more often than not, the ball is hugged by one player, and his teammates try to push a way through for him. The rough-and-tumble sport is claimed by some to have started during the reign of Elizabeth I, and has always been a recognised method locally of paying off old scores.
There are very few injuries. There's always an ambulance to hand for the eventuality that may happen, but usually it's just people getting trampled on as the hug moves quickly. Sometimes a player may go down in the hug and have to be hauled back up, and it's usually bruises rather than breaks.
Every year, whatever the weather, the game has been played, and it's the proud boast of the locals that neither the Kaiser nor Hitler could stop it. Even if there's no score, the Ashburnians are convinced it's the greatest game on earth. There's not many left to argue the point, and the survivors just hot-footed back to the pub.